Alright, so here's our first video on how to use Engrade Pro, our new assessment software for Corbett. Please note that it is Engrade Pro and not just Engrade. If you go to Engrade, it's going to take you actually to a different assessment site that you won't be able to log in. Alright, so what we're going to do first is we're going to type into our URL, so where we search up at the top, you're going to type in engradepro.com and then click enter, and it'll take you to this site. My information's already logged in. If you forgot what your username and password is, it is your last name followed by your first name, all lowercase. For your students, it's their last name, first name, and their middle first name, since we have a large portion that has two last names. So I'm going to log in. My password is that Wimbley last name, Brandon first name, and then my password. Then you just click login. It's going to take you to your main overview. Alright? So what I have here is in 6th grade we have it set up where I can see both classes. If you have it set up that way, then pick your own class. My class is 6th grade Wimbley. So I click on it. These are all of my tests that I've scheduled for my students. You can see I have one open up right now. That is because we reviewed on Monday for the ones who didn't pass, so they'll be retaking it tonight or tomorrow at recess. So what I'm going to do is, this video is going to show you what Engrade can look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you one of the tests that I've made. It has almost every option for the types of questions. It has a true, false, fill in a blank, close, file upload, grid in, multiple choice, matching, bucketing, ordering, essay. There's like 2 more, but these are probably going to be the ones we're going to be using the most. Alright, so what I'm going to show you is just what it would look like to the students. So the students are going to see this exact page. It's going to say these directions. You're about to start a test. Make sure you have a good internet connection before starting, and do not use the browser's forward or backwards button. This right here, they click on those forwards and backwards, it's going to not mess up their test, but it's going to delete the test item that they're on. So what I mean is, if it's a multiple choice, they click this button right here instead of the button down here. It's actually going to delete it, and they'll have to redo that. It's not too bad with multiple choice, but if it's an essay question, it does autosave as they're working. But if it's an essay question, and it's been a while since it autosaved, they're going to lose all that information. So this is actually really important. Alright, so let's look at my first question example. So here's one. It's just a standard multiple choice. As a result of Maria's important discovery in this passage, other members of the Tiwa tribe were able to. So I actually picked a bad one. This is a passage, but I didn't attach the passage. But it's just to show you that they're just going to pick any one of these options, just like a regular multiple choice. It'll only let them pick one, since it says select the correct answer. These X's on the side, this little circle, this what's called a radio button, lets you know that you're only picking one. So you pick it, and you click save and continue. You'll notice once I pick one, click save and continue, this thing to up here changes to green so that my students know that they've answered it. If it's gray, it means they haven't answered it. I can click mark to review, and it's going to add this little blue tag down here. That means I'm not sure about it, and I can come back. I can skip through my passages, and I see that tag is still there. All these gray ones I haven't answered. So I'm going to go back here. So this is an example of a passage. The amount of sugary beverages Americans consume is the leading health cause. And there's just some more information down here. You can see I have a picture and a table. You can also see I have these little dots underneath right here. What those are is I create a glossary so that my kids can see definitions that I gave them. So if they forgot what a ratio is, they hover over it and it tells them a ratio is a comparison of 2 things. Equivalent, they might have forgot, so I told them equivalent means that equal. There's a picture to go with it, so I can have text and pictures. Then my question is down here at the bottom. Read the passage above. What is the maximum serving size? I have for this question set at 1,000 words. If they type over that, it's just going to stop. So I'm just going to fill something in. And then when I'm done, I'm going to scroll down and just hit save and continue. And you'll notice that 2 now is green, which means I've answered it. This is an example of a grid in right here. So grid in means they're solving a problem and they're filling in this amount right here. So my problem is, what is 1.1 times 6? So I can easily solve that is 6, 6, and I carry the decimal over 1 spot. So my answer is 6.6. Now what the students will do is they need to take this answer 6.6 and fill it in here. So they're going to click on this box. You'll see it drops down 0 to 9 and a decimal. So they're going to find that 6. That's my first digit. My next digit is that decimal right there. So I'm going to find my decimal, click it, there's my decimal, and then my last one is this 6 over here. So I'm going to click over here, and that is my 6. So that is my grid in. So I click save and continue, it takes me to my next one. Here is a matching. Here we have equations in 6th grade. M equals 70h, which is miles equals 55 times hours, and they have some grids over here. So they're supposed to match these grids up. You'll notice when I match them up, there's one extra. You can add what's called a distractor, which is just something extra that won't fit into any of these. So they really have to think. They can't just match them up and say, oh, this is what I have left. You'll notice though, this is awfully small. My kids can't read it. So it was to get them used to this tool, the magnifier. So my magnifier is right here, and what it does is it magnifies. So I click on it, and then I just hover over, and it increases it. So now they can see 1 and 45 match up with that dot. Also, if you have a smaller image and you don't want them to use the magnifier for whatever reason, you can also have them zoom in, which is this little 3 line, and you just hit that zoom in button. And now you'll notice that my pictures are much larger, so I can read them easier. So there's 2 ways. I just wanted my kids to get used to that magnifier glass. Alright, so now I'm going to just set it back to 100% just because that's how I use it. My question is done, so I hit save and continue. So this is a PDF, and the purpose of this is so that you can link to external websites. So maybe you need them to look on a website or research something and come back and answer it. So this is a link, so you have them click on whatever blue, and it will take you to another page. So it took me to what our homework packet page looks like. So then I'm going to hit this back arrow. This is the only time I want to hit it, but you'll notice when I hit it, I get this ugly thing right here, confirm form resubmission. That means I hit that back arrow. I did this on purpose though, so you don't have to panic. If you or your students get this, what you do is you click up at the top. So you're going to click right up here and it'll highlight everything blue, and you just hit the enter key. And it's going to refresh it. You'll get this nice screen. So have your kids play around. They might hit it, refresh. If they keep trying that, they'll realize they don't go anywhere. So what do you think you're going to have them do? You're going to have them log back in, and it'll actually take them back to that question you were on. However, since mine was a preview, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to my test, and we're going to just preview it again. It will actually log your students back in, but since we are previewing it, it won't do that for my option. So we're going to go back to my question, that PDF. And so yeah, I could see it. So I'm going to fill in, this is a drop down, and I can see the PDF. And I click save and continue. Notice how my answers are randomized. I set my test up so that every student won't have the questions in the same order so they can't cheat. So I'm just typing something in, save and continue because we already did that passage. This one's good, so I'm going to my next one. So this is what's called a bucketing. So I have this problem. The Pine Middle School PE equipment room has 15 basketballs and 10 soccer balls. I need to make an equivalent ratio by what? By scaling down. So that equivalent ratio is 15 to 10. And scaling down means I go down, so I'm going to divide by 5. Divide by 5, and I get 3, 2. So I have 3 basketballs. So I click my basketball picture, or you can have words. I'm just going to drag 3 in. How many soccer balls should I have? Well, I should have 2 in. So I'm going to click and drag 1, 2. Problem's done, so I click save and continue. Just going to clear my screen. So this lets you also upload a file. So maybe for whatever reason you want your kids to write a report, find a picture and save it and upload it. So what they're going to do is they'll click attach file. These are all of your files that you have saved in your file library that we'll get to in a moment. Or they can choose one that they've made. You'll probably want them to choose one that they made. So what you'll do is you'll click that file upload. Then you're just going to find a file that you want your students to upload. So I'm just going to upload this picture of a cat. I click it, you'll see it says there, and I'm just going to click save and continue. My guess is we won't be using that one very much, but you might. Since I'm saving a file, it just takes a little longer. Here's that grid in one, so my answer was 6.1, so I'm just going to put it again. I'm sorry, 6.6. Save and continue. So here I have a picture again. So here's a picture with some text at the top. So this is an example now, fill in the blank. I can see the passage and the image. Well, I can see my passage and the image over here. So I'm just going to type in yes. Save and continue. So here's one that my class loves. Put in order from greatest to least. Just because we don't have time, we're just going to show you how they move around. But I'm putting them in order from greatest to least. So you can see you can easily move them around. Okay, my next one. Here's that multiple choice again. So I just pick an answer, move on since we've already looked at it. The matching. Save and continue. You can also embed videos. So you can have your students watch a video working on those Common Core standards and then answer a question. Depending on if everyone's watching video.
So we only have a few more lessons of ratios. So now we're on lesson 23, which focuses on problem solving using rates, unit rates, and conversion.
So here I'm going to look at my true and false examples. This is an example of true and false. I'm clicking true, save and continue. If they try to finish and there's this gray one up here, that means there's one unanswered question. So they can, if they want, click finish and turn in, or they can go back and they can answer it. So my file upload just looks like it's not cooperating. So I'm going to try one more time. So I'm going to try that picture of my cat again. And it looks like it's still not working, so I'm just going to forget it. I'm just going to pick one of the ones. Oh, there it is. So I uploaded it, and then I have to come back and select it here. So just so we can see another example. That was my fault. I forgot about that. I'm going to pick another picture on Iron Man clock. Open. And now what I need to do is I need to look. Oh, I just deleted it. An Iron Man clock. And I now need to pick it in here. Let's try this. I'm going to try save and continue. You won't break anything if you're just playing around with it. I'm going to come back to my problem. I'm going to see, look, there it is, that Iron Man clock. So now I can click save and continue. And look, all my answers are done. So I'm going to go to the very end. Save and continue. It's going to ask me, am I sure I want to submit this test? Finish and turn in. So that is what a test will look like to your students. It will tell you if you've set it up, their results, for the ones that can score automatically. For the ones like my essay down here, I have to grade that as a teacher, so it won't give me that result. Alright, so that is what a test will look like for your students, as well as the choice of questions you have available to you.